tragic news. Former Prime Minister of the country, Inder Kumar Gujral, has passed away. Inder Kumar Gujral, we can confirm to you now, is no more. He has had very critically poor health over the last few days. In fact, there had been talk that he was on life support over the last few days as well. But we're just going to get you some more information about Inder Kumar Gujral, who was the 12th Prime Minister of India from April 1997 to March 1998. Inder Kumar Gujral was the second Prime Minister to govern exclusively from the Rajya Sabha, the first, of course, being his immediate predecessor, H.D. Deve Gowda. He was born in 1919, and Inder Kumar Gujral was the 12th Prime Minister of the country. Well, Inder Kumar Gujral has been extremely ill over the last few days. He was admitted to a hospital last week with extremely poor, in an extremely poor situation. The condition of the former Prime Minister, he was admitted to a hospital on November the 19th, as a matter of fact, and he was extremely critical at that time. His son, the son of the former Prime Minister and a Rajya Sabha member from the Shiromani Akali Dal, said the doctors had actually given up hope at that point of time. Inder Kumar Gujral was 93 years old. He was born in 1919. He passed away at the Medanta Medicity Hospital in Gurgaon with a lung infection and several other complications. A team of 9 senior consultants headed by Dr. Naresh Trehan of Medanta Medicity were keeping a close eye on Inder Kumar Gujral during his final hours. Inder Kumar Gujral was, as I said, India's 12th Prime Minister. He was India's Prime Minister from April 1997 to March 1998. For about 11 months, he was the Prime Minister of the country. He's held several other portfolios as well. He was Minister of External Affairs from the 1st of June 1996 to 19th March 1998 under Prime Minister Deve Gowda. He was Minister of Finance as well. He held that portfolio as Prime Minister. When he was Prime Minister, he had a portfolio of finance as well. Well, he was born in December 1919. That makes him 93 years old when he passed away today. He was born in Jhelum in Punjab. I want to get in a word from Rajya Sabha MP Manishankar Iyer, who has worked closely with Inder Kumar Gujral. Mr. Iyer, your thoughts, sir. It's confirmed now that Mr. Gujral has in fact passed away. Your thoughts on the man, sir?
Well, I'm very distressed because I actually met Mr. Gujral when I was a few months old in a pram, which was being wheeled around Lakshmi Mansions by my mother. And Mr. Gujral, along with his friend Kapoor, had come to see my mother. So actually, it's like a bit of my life being snatched from me.
Yes.
But apart from that initial encounter as an infant in a pram, I got to know Mr. Gujral, who was a very close friend of Minister Dinesh Singh, when I was working as private secretary to Dinesh Singh. And I always found him to be really a gentleman, the kind of person who ought to be running our politics, running our democracy. And while I think it's very sad, it was a great loss to the Congress, that differences between him and Mrs. Indira Gandhi resulted in this stalwart of the Congress party no longer remaining there. He was a great foreign policy expert,
yes,
and one whose fundamental philosophy of having a harmonious and friendly relationship with our neighbors on the principle of non-reciprocity is one which to this day I thoroughly endorse. I also think that while his term as Prime Minister was extremely short because of the circumstances in which he became Prime Minister, I am proud to say
yes,
that when the news came in of his becoming Prime Minister, my wife and I were the very first to reach his house in Maharani Bagh and congratulate him. And this notwithstanding the fact that at that time He was in another party and I was in the Congress. He was very gracious to my wife as Minister of Information and Broadcasting when she was working in Doordarshan. And I think his son is a splendid legatee of his father. He too is in another party, but I find him one of the great gentlemen of the Parliament. And although Gujral Sahib is from now no longer with us,
Yes,
I'm sure that his memory will endure and that his contribution to A, our democracy, and B, our foreign policy will also endure. I extend my sincerest condolences to his son and to the rest of his family.
Manishankar Iyer, thank you for speaking. Headlines today. Your thoughts on IK Gujral. Senior journalist Kuldeep Nayyar is also with us on the phone line. Mr. Nayyar, your thoughts on Inder Kumar Gujral. He had a very, very brief time as Prime Minister. What are your thoughts, your memories of IK Gujral? What will he be remembered for, sir?
In the loss of Gujral, the country has lost a very distinguished leader and a person who participated in the freedom movement, and I personally have lost a friend. His greatest contribution is bringing the neighbors nearer to the country. His what's famous was Gujral doctrine, which meant that you go an extra mile to win over a friend.
Mr. Nayyar, considering he had such a brief period as Prime Minister, what kind of legacy do you think Inder Kumar Gujral has really left behind? For a new generation, it's difficult for new generations to remember Prime Ministers who've served for such a short time. What would be your words about Inder Kumar Gujral's legacy as the Chief Executive of the country?
First, his legacy was that a gentleman in politics who did not hurt anybody, who had no enemy, had rivals, but no enemy. And I think people will remember him that here was a man who worked his way from below to above. And through his temperament and through his behavior, he won over lots of friends, and he served really minorities very well because he had constituted the Punjab group, which brought the government and the Akalis together. He constituted Kashmir group, which brought Srinagar and Delhi together, and worked very hard for the uplift of Urdu. So the people today's generation can look up to him that he was a man who touched almost all points in his life and distinguished himself in a short period.
Kuldeep Nayyar, thanks for speaking to Headlines today. We'd just like to tell our viewers that Inder Kumar Gujral, the former Prime Minister of the country, passed away at 3:27 p.m. at the Medanta Medicity Hospital in Gurgaon. He was 92 years old. He was born in 1919. He was the 12th Prime Minister of the country, and he served as Prime Minister of the country for just 11 months before the elections were called. He did, at that time, as Prime Minister, manage to maintain very good relations with the Congress party. He himself was part of the Janata Dal, of course, and Congress at that time had supported him from the outside. Like you've heard Manishankar Iyer and Kuldeep Nayyar say, he was a rare gentleman in politics, and they're not just saying this because he is no more. He was a rare gentleman who appealed to people from all sides. He had rivals, but he had no enemies. He was a towering statesman in Parliament. Let's get a word in from Headlines Today's Editor Strategic Affairs, Gaurav Sawant, as well. Gaurav, Inder Kumar Gujral isn't really, a name that pops into anyone's head when you think of Prime Minister. Though he had a very brief but eventful time as Prime Minister, didn't he, Gaurav?
Well, the brief 11 months that he was Prime Minister of India, domestic politics were extremely hot, but it's also on the foreign policy front that he tried to have an impact.
Yes.
The Gujral doctrine is often talked about. where very meticulously Inder Kumar Gujral, had tried to get better relations in the in the neighborhood. The five principles of the Gujral doctrine, spoke about how we need better relations in the regionhood in SAARC. How India as a large country should not expect, relationship on a reciprocal basis with smaller neighbors.
Gaurav, just stay with me
Yeah.
for a moment. I'm just going to come back to you. Subramanian Swamy, President of the Janata Party, is with me on the phone line. Mr. Dr. Swamy, your thoughts on Inder Kumar Gujral. What are you going to remember him most for, sir?
Well, I certainly remember him for his intellectual prowess, his knowledge of world affairs. He was definitely a politician of the left wing, and he was very pro-Soviet. And therefore, he and I often had disagreements. But he was essentially a gregarious, good friend, very warm in speaking, frankly, with you. And must say that during the emergency, he didn't quite go along with Mrs.
Okay.
Gandhi.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for speaking to us. We're getting in some reactions now from a former aide to Prime Minister Gujral. Let's listen in.
इन्होंने कभी कंप्रोमाइज नहीं किया, जो अपने उसूल हैं उसी उसूलों पे चले और आज इस ओहदे पे पहुंचे। और आज ऐसा ही एक ये इंसान है जो पूरा ईमानदारी से अपना जीवन व्यतीत किया और लास्ट भी उनकी यही थी कि मुझे कोई अफसोस नहीं अपनी जिंदगी से, और हमेशा कंटेंटेड रहे हैं वो, और दिल से बहुत अच्छे थे। जो भी जाता है मिलता सबसे, खास करके मीडिया वाले से उनका बड़ा प्रेम था, हर व्यक्ति से प्रेम करते थे, और जो उनके थे बिहेवियर था सबके साथ। बड़े अच्छे लेखक भी थे, बड़ी उन्होंने बुक्स लिखी, 20-25 किताबें हैं। अब आप जीवनी के ऊपर डायरी मेंटेन करते थे हमेशा अपनी, 100 डायरी अभी भी उनके पास पड़े हैं। और घर में जितना इनका घर है सब कमरे लाइब्रेरी में बुक्स के भरे हुए हैं, हमेशा पढ़ते थे। आज की उम्र में भी, ये कुछ बीमार होने से पहले भी उनकी पढ़ाई रेगुलर थी, टीवी देखते थे, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते थे, कोई बुक्स भी आती थी वो भी पढ़ते थे, एंड मेंटली वेरी अलर्ट। और बुला के बेटे को भी सबसे अच्छी तरह बातें करनी, राजनीति के ऊपर भी बातें करनी, और हम लोगों ने भी जाना तो अच्छी से अच्छी बातें कहनी और अच्छी तरह से उन्होंने समझाना। हमें सब बहुत दुख है। थैंक यू।
Right, Gaurav Sawant is with us. Still, let's get more on that. Gaurav, the Gujral doctrine, which had been hailed so much at the time when Inder Kumar Gujral actually propounded, those meaningful principles about friendly relations with our neighbors and how India's own power cannot be divorced from its relations with its neighbor countries. He's going to be remembered a great deal for that, isn't he?
He indeed will be. With smaller neighbors, we have to be generous. That is what he said. As far as India and Pakistan are concerned, he was very keen to resolve the crisis. He went the extra mile. In fact, within the strategic community, the security community, the intelligence community, there was a lot of heartburn because he insisted that even if ISI uses, Pakistani territory to attack India, India will not reciprocate. There will not be counter attacks on Pakistan, and whatever counter mechanism India may have had is said to have been dismantled in his regime.
Yes,
and that is something which on both sides of the border is universally acknowledged. As Narendra, one of his aides, was telling us, he was majorly into Urdu poetry.
Yes.
He would read a lot of couplets aloud. His house was an open house. Shiv, I was a young reporter, and in 1997 when he became Prime Minister, he actually, when he lived in Maharani Bagh, there was a Maharani Bagh cabinet which was his neighbors. He would go out for a walk every day with them, and issues that concerned the nation,
yes,
he would discuss with his neighborhood.
Very
and
interesting.
Then actually act. And as a young reporter that time, I went and saw him interacting with his neighborhood, with people in his neighborhood on national issues, international issues. get their opinion, get their feedback, and then take a decision. So, his Maharani Bagh cabinet was talked about quite a bit when he just become the Prime Minister.
Gaurav, you were a young reporter when IK Gujral became the Prime Minister. Let's see what a seasoned reporter had to say about her experiences meeting and covering Prime Minister Gujral. Neerja Chaudhary, one of India's best known and senior most political reporters, is with us on the phone line. Ms. Chaudhary, your memories of reporting, covering Inder Kumar Gujral, what was it like? What can you tell us?
Those were turbulent months of coalition government when he became Prime Minister and took over from Deva Gowda. But what sticks in your mind above all, that Gujral was essentially a gentleman politician. He had this very incredible ability to get along with people of all kinds, from the left to the right. He started his political career associated with the Communist Party of India. And then when he became Prime Minister, it was others like Sitaram Kesri, Chandrababu Naidu, who helped him become Prime Minister. And
Ms. Chaudhary, sorry, apologies for interrupting. Just hold on with me for just a moment. Ghulam Nabi Azad is speaking on Inder Kumar Gujral. You just listen.
और इंफॉर्मेशन ब्रॉडकास्टिंग मिनिस्टर के तौर पर और बाद में प्राइम मिनिस्टर के तौर पर जिसमें कांग्रेस ने उनको समर्थन दिया, बहुत अच्छी तरह से, चाहे थोड़े से अरसे के लिए उन्होंने प्राइम मिनिस्टरशिप संभाली, लेकिन सबको लेके संभाली। वो एक ईमानदार लीडर थे और बहुत ही शरीफ थे। अच्छे खानदान से ताल्लुक रखने के बावजूद भी उनकी जो सादगी थी वो हमेशा उनके लिबास से, उनसे चेहरे से, उनके रहन सहन से टपकती थी। वो कई दिनों से बीमार थे, आज वो हमारे बीच में नहीं है। उनके निधन से हमें व्यक्तिगत तौर पर भी और वैसे भी देश को एक बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हुआ और एक बहुत आला किस्म के लीडर से देश वंचित हुआ। और मैं भगवान से, अल्लाह से यही दुआ करता हूँ कि उनकी आत्मा को शांति मिले और उनके सभी परिवार को इस दुख को बर्दाश्त करने की हिम्मत हो।